to 3,600 Seconds. I'm your host, Chumley. Today we're going to explore and follow up on the PSA of my name is not Jim. Jim spelled G-Y-M. There's been much discussion over the years of what's physical education versus what's physical activity. But today I'm going to actually sit down with an actual physical education teacher whose real name is Jim, J-Y-M. Listen, and I hope you enjoy our story tonight. Brock Chumley here, sitting with Jim Hambel, a physical education teacher from the Bronx, New York. Now, Jim is also the chair of the Shape America Physical Activity Council. He was the 2020 New York State A for an Amazing Person Elementary Section Award winner. Jim, thanks for being with us today.
Well, thank you, Brock. I'm really happy to be here tonight. I'm a big fan of the program and the show.
My first question for you is going to be, what is the difference between physical education and physical activity?
I would say the biggest difference between physical education and physical activity is that physical activity is, in essence, really kind of what we teach. It's the movement, the joy of movement, the competency, the feeling good and feeling like, you know what, I can do this, I feel good, I can do it to a reasonable level of success. And what the physical education part of it is that we teach students is to enjoy that level of success, know how to be successful, and also how to appreciate a challenge, and also to know how to challenge themselves, or even kind of just bring it down when it's a little too hard, but also kind of the cognitive understanding. And also what goes into that is that a physical activity is fine, you're just putting on like a video or something to watch and do, but physical education all teaches the biomechanics, the kinesthetic value, also the deeper understanding of both muscles, how exercise physiology, how to exercise, what's actually going on in the body when we're exercising a lot of time, and teaching the health-related components of cardiovascular endurance, muscular fitness, muscular endurance, flexibility, body composition. So it's really kind of taking and just making that cognitive connection.
That is quite a thoughtful response. Never considered it like that. So my next question would be why you should not be called gym teachers, physical education teachers, physical educators? Why not gym teachers? I mean, your name is Jim. Why not be called GYM teachers?
Well, I guess, I've often said that times early in my career, well, I'm Jim the gym teacher, but really, a gym is a classroom. It's not like we go and say, oh, you teach room 402, haha, you're a 402 teacher. I guess it's kind of taken on its own kind of ethos, its own kind of, what's the word I'm thinking for? Its own kind of, it's being a physics teacher is great because you get to see all the students in the school, and you get to develop relationships and bonds with all kinds of students and all different levels, all kinds of different interest levels. And one thing also in physical education is we also, at least I like to think about it as being different kind of like types of play, where some students like to be able to, they have different goals. Like some of them want to do it for a social value. They enjoy just playing with others. Some of them really want to be after accolades and trophies. So it's definitely not gym. I'm not a gym teacher. I'm not teaching an actual room. I'm not just teaching one specific thing. I'm also not teaching things that are just staying inside that classroom, just like other classroom teachers do. I like to think of it and make the continuity and the connections that way, because you want students to take what they have, physical literacy, you want them to take what they're learning in the gym, and you also want them to be able to transfer that over to other places. Like for example, even if you're playing a basketball game, you have 4 hoops and 4 teams and 2 people on a team, that's not quite basketball, but it gives you ideas to kind of extend thinking and say, what makes this, how is this match up with regular basketball? Or even during remote learning, if I have students make a little mini basket out of a little shoebox, how does that relevant? Are we can work on the same form of the jump shot. How does that transfer over? So it's not just what you're teaching in a room. It's not just teaching the stuff that's in the room. It's not just teaching sports. It's really there's really a transition and a really focus on health, and also on, like I said, teaching that stuff, teaching content and concepts that can transfer out of the classroom, out of the gym.
extremely insightful, Jim. We're really glad you could be on the program with us tonight. So I guess my final question is, what would be some closing words or thoughts about just what we've been talking about? Why is exercise so important? Why is physical activity so important? And what is the need for, let's be frank, what is the need for physical education?
There really is a huge need for physical education because there's been a lot of focus and a lot of need for social emotional learning, which is wonderful and great, but social emotional learning to me is not just learning, is not just being able to calm your mind, it's also being able to, how does the body kind of come into it? Because let's face it, humans are meant to move, and sitting in front of a screen, for example, is not ideal. So physical education now is like I said before, is understanding the competency of how I move. Do I feel good about doing it? How can I challenge myself more to do it? It's a really educational piece where, for the same reason, you wouldn't just give students a book and just say read. You would have them make connections, like close reading. You would give them math. You would ask them troubleshooting. You would ask them to help bridge understandings and try to scaffold to for deeper connections. So I could go on for a long time about this, but it really is a big need for physical education. It really is. Don't call Jim.
Wow, that was quite a riveting interview with Jim. He also wanted to tell me about his wellness series that runs every Wednesday night, which is free workouts, that this reporter is definitely going to have to check out. And having quite an insightful conversation with Jim helped me kind of turn my frame of thinking into thinking that physical education is more than just physical activity, and it's more than just being a gym teacher. So thank you for joining us for another edition of 30,600 Seconds. This is Brock Chumley, signing off.